in custody. And 2 suspects reported dead after San Antonio police respond to 2 separate incidents. Plus, more than 4-story building used as a temporary housing in a South African city.
Well, here in South Texas, a lot of people planning on the long holiday weekend. We had, of course, a lot of heat today. Will it stay that hot? And then we'll also take a look at to see what the hurricane's going to do. All that coming up in just a moment.
And the athlete of the week is a Bloomington athlete who led his team to a dominant victory. We hear from him in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Don Brubaker has the night off. The Victoria County Sheriff's Office, along with multiple other agencies, made an arrest after a driver attempted to flee during a felony traffic stop near US 50 Stubbs School Road. The suspect, 27-year-old Derek Mallon Edwards, was in a red Chevrolet truck that was stolen out of Montgomery County on Tuesday. He faces multiple charges. He was also wanted by the Texas Department of Pardon and Parole. Now, deputies with the Victoria County Sheriff's Office were busy with the chase this morning. It happened around 11 o'clock along Zacklands Parkway between Navarro and Lone Tree Road. Authorities knew the vehicle was reported stolen and tried to pull the driver over, but he didn't stop. The driver eventually stopped and was taken into custody. Now, we had this as breaking news on 25 News Now at 6 just last night. A 29-year-old man was shot and in the hospital in stable condition. It happened in the 600 block of Warren Avenue near Queen City and Christ Kitchen. Anyone with information can call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. The number is right there on your screen, and callers can remain anonymous. San Antonio police arrived at the scene of a shooting resulting in a dead suspect and a hospitalized officer Wednesday night. Then, in another officer-involved shooting less than 12 hours, San Antonio police responded to a vehicle burglary where this separate incident leaves a suspect dead. Both suspects were identified only as being in their 20s.
One officer down. We have the suspect who was shot by an officer and is deceased. And we're trying to figure out exactly what happened, how that went down. And we'll know more once the detectives get into the investigation. But
the injured officer's condition is currently unknown, but authorities say they were being prepped for surgery. The mayor of Uvalde wants District Attorney Christina Mitchell to step down. In a written statement linked to a lawsuit, Mayor Don McLaughlin claims Mitchell is blocking the city's probe into the 2022 mass shooting at Robb Elementary School. He said 15 months have passed since the incident and that, quote, our community deserves better, unquote. Mitchell told the San Antonio Express News she plans on presenting evidence to a grand jury before the end of the year. 21 people died in the rampage, and it took law enforcement officers more than an hour before they approached the gunman and killed him. And now let's take a quick pause on the news and go to the weather with Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, more hot weather, I'm guessing?
Yeah, but you know, there's a little bit of change as we get into next week. Things are looking a little better. We're 84 degrees right about now. This afternoon, boy, we got up to 104. 2 off the record high. We may actually get into the mid-90s next week. Wouldn't that be nice? We'll also have a good chance of showers. We'll talk about it because it is your your Labor Day weekend. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. 1 inmate died and at least 2 others were hurt following a mass stabbing incident at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, Georgia, Thursday. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office says the situation is under control. There is no word on possible suspects or what led to the stabbings. According to the Sheriff's Office, there were 4 in custody deaths at the jail just this August. The Justice Department launched a civil rights investigation into the jail last month for its unsanitary conditions. In Johannesburg, a deadly building killed over 70 people. More than 50 others were hurt. The fire broke out at around 1:30 a.m. local time at a 5-story building in the city's central business district. Fire crews were working to contain the flames. Emergency services are now conducting recovery operations. A spokesperson for the city's EMS said the fire was in a hijacked building with hundreds of informal settlements inside. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas disclosed that he took 3 trips last year aboard a private plane owned by Republican mega donor Harlan Crow of Dallas. Thomas is also amending his prior reports to include other perks from Crow. Now these filings come during a heightened focus on the ethics at the High Court, stemming from a series of reports revealing that Thomas has for years received undisclosed expensive gifts, including international travel from Crow. Justice Samuel Alito is also releasing his financial disclosures today. In Seattle, 2 armed men ambushed a man in front of his home and then repeatedly tased him before stealing his gold chain, wallet, and his car keys.
2 masked armed robbers ambush a man on the front porch of his home in South Seattle.
Right now, everything you got.
Pointing a gun, then tasing the man repeatedly. The victim's wife tells KOMO News off camera the thieves got away with a gold chain, wallet, and car keys. They believe the suspects had been watching them shop at King Plaza, then followed them to the home about a mile and a half away in Beacon Hill.
I feel sad for the victim because he's immigrant. My family's refugee and immigrant.
Louis Presuth is the creative director at the Goodfoot Arts Collective in King Plaza. The organization works to prevent youth violence through arts and education, with after-school programs to offer kids a safe space in South Seattle.
This is an area where we feel neglected. There's not a lot of attention here.
The tasing victim's family worries the suspects may be targeting Asian families coming from the plaza. This comes as police investigate a surge in home invasions across the South Precinct, the suspects robbing vulnerable Asian adults.
We are seeing that it's a group of 3 to 7 black males in their teens. These suspects, they are armed.
Tonight, Seattle police say as of now, the tasing incident is not believed to be connected. Still, Presuth adds property crime and even violence toward vulnerable groups here are common. And because of the reported lack of police resources, Presuth states these businesses rely on each other to deter crime.
The compounding issues with COVID, mental health, lack of resources. So we want to have a holistic response to this.
Reporting in South Seattle, Jackie Kent, KOMO News.
Convicted murderer Alex Murdaugh lost phone privileges in a South Carolina jail. He's serving 2 life terms for killing his wife and son. The State Department of Corrections says he violated prison policy by having his lawyer record him on the phone regarding journal entries for an upcoming documentary. He also used another inmate's PIN number to make a phone call. The department revoked his privileges for 30 days. They sent a letter to his attorney warning of potential consequences for breaking prison policy. The Texas Tribune Court allowed a ban on gender-affirming care for most minors in Texas. This takes effect Friday, that's tomorrow. Thursday's decision comes a week after a state district judge issued a temporary injunction to block the law, noting that the law likely violates the Texas Constitution, including the rights of parents to make decisions concerning the health care of their children. The law prohibits most minors from receiving treatments such as hormone therapy and puberty blockers. Rapper Travis Scott is going on tour again nearly 2 years after 10 people were killed in the 2021 Astroworld crowd crush in Houston. On Wednesday, Scott announced his upcoming Utopia Circus Maximus tour beginning on October 11th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Scott was cleared of criminal charges in the Astroworld tragedy by the Houston District Attorney's Office earlier this year. However, he faced several civil lawsuits brought by many of the victims' families. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. 2 months after the fatal I-95 bridge collapse in Philadelphia, structure beams were finally installed today. Also ahead, the FAA is predicting this weekend Labor Day travel will be the 3rd busiest holiday weekend of the year. 2 months after the fatal I-95 collapse in Philadelphia, permanent structure beams were installed today on that section of the interstate. The bridge collapsed back in June when a tanker truck hauling thousands of gallons of gas lost control on the off-ramp. The crash ignited a huge fire that destroyed the northbound and southbound lanes of I-95 above the wreck. A temporary roadway was constructed 2 weeks later after the collapse. The permanent center section of the bridge is expected to be complete in 2024. An 18-wheeler split in half in a train crash. This happened this morning in New Caney near the Houston metropolitan area. The truck was carrying a cement mixer, which was no longer attached after the accident. No word on any injuries, and DPS is now investigating the incident. Doctors are asking patients to be honest about their marijuana use before they enter surgery, and here's why.
Multiple states have now legalized recreational marijuana, and surgeons are asking patients to be honest with them if they are using the drug. Letting your doctor know if you use marijuana will help them make sure you stay asleep for the duration of the surgery. Those who use marijuana at least once a week may require more anesthesia than those that do not. There is also an elevated risk of heart attack for those with pre-existing conditions that have used marijuana in the hour before surgery. Doctors say they sometimes need 10 times the amount of certain drugs to keep patients who use the drug asleep compared to those who don't. Various factors are taken into account before anesthesia, such as body type and body weight, as well as the type of surgery being performed. Doctors also constantly measure heart rate, breathing, and blood pressure. Be sure to have an open discussion with your physician about your drug use before entering the operating room to help make sure everything goes smoothly. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Adon, ABC News.
U.S. schools are dealing with a shortage of mental health support staff amid a growing need. The Washington Post reports the nation needs 77,000 more school counselors and has almost as many psychologists. That's in addition to a shortage of tens of thousands of social school workers. To help, some universities are expanding or modifying their counseling programs, like offering scholarships. Some experts say mental health is too sensitive of an issue for people without graduate degrees to handle. Labor Day weekend is coming soon, and traveling on the road is expected to be the busiest. Today, the FAA is predicting this will be the third busiest holiday weekend of the year.
The dog days of summer are almost over, but according to the Transportation Safety Administration, it's been the busiest summer for air travel on record. The TSA expects to screen more than 14 million passengers over the Labor Day holiday weekend. That's up almost 11% from last year, with its busiest day expected tomorrow. Tampa International, among other major Florida airports, back open after shuttering due to Hurricane Idalia. A warning for travelers headed through Georgia and the Carolinas. You may face possible weather delays. But if you're heading to your destination by car, make sure to pack your patience, as traffic on the roads is expected to be at its worst today. AAA says driving is the preferred method of transportation this Labor Day weekend, and average gas prices are sitting around $3.82 per gallon across the country.
I just left the gas station because the prices, I was like $3.99.
Despite the sticker shock some are still feeling, prices appearing to level off since last year. AAA says the busiest time to travel for the holiday is today, Friday between 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. You'll likely also hit some heavy traffic. Experts advising if you want to avoid the logjam this weekend, the best time to travel is before 7 a.m. or after 8 p.m., while others are just choosing to stay put.
I don't go anywhere, so I'll be safe.
If you're choosing to fly this holiday weekend, TSA predicts tomorrow and Monday will be the busiest days. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The Texas Tribune has this story. Residents say the water in 4 communities near Lubbock has remained undrinkable for years. They're raising awareness in hopes of receiving $3 million in state grants to improve their water system. We have this story on CrossroadsToday.com. And for now, here is Mac.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Well, congratulations. You made it to the end of August. Our high today was 104. Yeah, that's we set a record. And I'll tell you what record, and we'll talk about your weekend, because I know you're planning to do a little driving this weekend, right? All that coming up in just a moment. Everybody, we are looking, of course, real close at that long holiday weekend. I'm sure you've got some plans, right? Even if you're staycation and you're going to be in the backyard, it's a plan, okay? 84 right about now. We managed to get up to an amazing 104 this afternoon, right there at about 4 o'clock. Can you believe it? At least it was cooler last night, down to 69, but 104 does not set a record for the date because the record is 106. However, it now puts us at 46 days of 100-degree days this summer. So we're now number 2. If we get up to 58, we could beat 2011. I don't know that we need to, but we're getting there. And I'm thinking the following. It's the end of August. September rolls in, mid-September, this is going to break, and we'll be back into the 80s, okay? I'm optimistic that we've got about 2 more hot weeks to deal with because summer, or rather meteorological summer ended today, but by the clock, we've got to go till September 23rd. That's when official fall begins, okay? Now, just sunny skies and warm temperatures for our area. Of course, even the rain with the storm has finally moved offshore, but in the residual moisture that was left, a big cluster of thunderstorms rolled out throughout many areas of Florida, leftover moisture from the hurricane. We, of course, were on the hot side of things, 102, the high in Port Lavaca, 98 in Palacios. We're looking at Wharton at 101 and Gonzales at 103. Can we ever get out of the hundreds? Oh, by the way, for the entire month of August, there was only 2 days that we were not over 100 degrees, just 2 days. So these are your observed highs today. Let's take a look at what we expect tomorrow. Yes, still on the hot side, but things are changing. First of all, the dome is not anywhere nearby. The dome is moving away. In fact, that dry air that we had was courtesy of the hurricane because we were on the backside of it, not because of the dome. What we had today is a lot of air pollution building up because the winds were so light in the metropolitan areas. Light winds don't disturb all that pollution that we create on an average day. And so they had what they call ozone action day. Basically, don't breathe and don't go outside, but it's the best we can do. So what do we expect? Well, the good news is that the storm is now moving offshore. And even though that one is ending, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 other systems that are sort of brewing in the Atlantic. We don't have to worry about them because they're going to stay in the Atlantic. If you happen to have a chance to go do a little fishing tomorrow morning, your high tide's at 10 in the morning and then at 5:42 in the afternoon. Winds in the afternoon kicking up only to 5 to 10, so still fairly quiet. I mean, almost smooth to occasionally choppy. Your sunrise is the most, I think it's the most important number, 7:05, okay? All right. So your day planner for those of you in the Port Lavaca area, we're getting down to 79. I wish it would cooler, but that's all we got. Getting up to 96 tomorrow. Lots of sunshine inland, a low of 73, and then 101 in the Cuero area. For all of us, here's what we've got. Hot and dry, but by the weekend, we start picking up the south wind. You'll see more clouds, and with a little luck, because the dome's not here, we may see a couple of little pop-up showers during the afternoon hours. That would include your Labor Day, but not to worry, not to worry. It's not a big washout, just a little garden variety showers during the afternoon hours. So have a good one. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Gino with sports.
Thanks, Mac. The China Comanches are in another tight spot for the 2nd year in a row. That's coming up after the break. At a crossroads, Bloomington athletics are blossoming and one star player played a big part in their victory week 1. Sports reporter Zach Brown has the athlete of the week.
Week 1 in the books, and many stars shine bright, but very few shined as bright as Bloomington's Amari Gardner. The star Bobcat running back helped lead the green and white to its second straight 1-0 start. He gave credit to his great O-line and says the win was a buildup of all their hard work.
Me and the team been working real hard. I feel like we earned this one, and we just played real hard. Everybody thinks as Bloomington has bottom of the list, we're trying to prove them wrong. We just gotta work hard in practice and just stay disciplined on the field.
Second-year head coach Brandon Krause loves the effort his boys put in and holds Amari in the highest regard.
You know, the dog that barks all the time is not the dog you got to worry about. You're worried about that dog that just runs up to you and bites you and don't give you no kind of warning. That's Amari. You know, he don't talk. He don't say jack crud. And then all of a sudden he goes for eight carries for 188 yards. You know, and he runs over there, hands the ball to the ref, and wants the ball again. And so he works his rear end off. He doesn't ever say nothing. He's the kind of kid you love coaching.
Coach Krause also talked about his defensive performance as well, praising his two-way ability. Amari Gardner did not come off the field in this dominant 44-6 win over Woodsboro, which makes his stat line that much more impressive. 8 carries for 188 yards and 3 touchdowns makes the star from Bloomington your athlete of the week.
A sight we're not used to seeing, Bloomington 1-0 and Shiner 0-1. The visiting team for the game of the week. Comanches are starting off 0-1 for the second straight season. The Comanches lost its season opener against the Houseville Brahmas 41-8 and will have another tough matchup against a team that has won at least 10 games the past 4 seasons. The Comanches bounced back and won 7 in a row last season, the last time that they lost week 1. Head coach Daniel Bedeker said going up against a bigger and tough school like Houseville gets the team ready for the rest of the season.
You know, we want to play fast, we want to play physical. That's the type of style of football that we play, and our kids buy into that, and it's something we got to practice daily and get the right mindset.
The Comanches offense was stagnant, only scoring 1 touchdown in the game. The leader of the offense, quarterback Carson Schutte, is a junior who wants to stay calm, do his best, and do whatever he can to lead his team back to the state title game.
I mean, I try not to put pressure on myself because you make more mistakes in that way, and you got to stay calm at quarterback position.
The Comanches are hoping to not start the year off 0-2 for the first time in over 5 years. The former back-to-back state champions will be looking to wrangle up the Cobras Friday night in Industrial. Well, that's your sports. Karina, back to you.
And now stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather with Mac. Plus, residents and authorities clean up after Hurricane Idalia in Florida. A huge mess in Cedar Key, Florida. Both the state and the feds are working together to rebuild while locals try to clean it up. Cedar Key is one of the areas hardest hit by Idalia. It's also the first spot the governor visited to see the damage firsthand, along with the FEMA administrator. The National Guard was also out there today to set up distribution points, handing out food and water to those in need.
Tired.
Tired.
Yeah, we've been cleaning and cleaning, picking up limbs and getting the house back in order. It's just the two of us.
What kind of shape is it? Is your house in?
It's fine. I mean, I thought we was going to lose it, but the wind was pretty high at times, and the rain. It didn't rain a whole lot, but it blew a lot. And I've been here about 50 years, and this was the strongest.
Power was restored to most of the nearly 500,000 people who lost it. Bridges and roads for access to islands were also fixed pretty quickly, so relief could get there faster. And now, of course, you can extend a helping hand to those impacted by Hurricane Idalia. Support the Red Cross in their response and recovery efforts by donating at redcross.org/ABC. Your contribution empowers the Red Cross to be prepared, responsive, and aids in providing affected people and communities with essentials like food, water, emergency shelter, and relief supplies. And with that, we go to you, Mac, for the weather.
Well, good. It's going to be hot. You knew that. But it's going to be dry tomorrow. But then as we get to the weekend, we're going to start feeling the old humidity roll back in, which is okay because it sets us up for a few showers around the area. Now, Monday, of course, is Labor Day. Some of you will be not laboring. You will be idling, but I don't think this is going to be enough to really mess up your holiday. And who would not want to be in a nice little rain shower? After the summer we've been through. That's right. That would be nice. So there's a shot at rain early next week.
Well, perfect rain this weekend, perfect weather this weekend, because the Flip Flop Festival is this Saturday in Port Lavaca. Flip Flop Fest will feature a cornhole tournament, a fishing tournament, food vendors, and merchandise vendors. Expect some great bands like the Spasmatics, the Brown Sugar Band, and the South Texas Homies. And event organizers say the yearly Flip Flop Festival is something you definitely don't want to miss.
Full day of shopping and food and beverages, all the fun stuff before we kick off the evening with a lot of great bands.
And where Highway 87 ends, that's where the party begins.
Well, Flip Flop Festival starts at 7 a.m. Saturday at Bayfront Park, and the festival ends at midnight. And tonight, we end with your viewer poll. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote. The question is, will you attend the Flip Flop Festival in Port Lavaca this weekend? We take a look at these results, and 8% say yes, 92% say no. Gotta say, I'm kind of bummed with that because the weekend's looking pretty sharp.
The weekend's looking good, and right where they're going to be, there's always a nice sea breeze blowing. So let's all go down to Port Lavaca this weekend.
It's not going to be too hot. I mean, it's going to be hot,
Yeah,
but as long as you wear sunscreen,
what
got
we've
your
been
shades
through,
on.
this is nothing this weekend.
Yeah, we can survive
I'm
this.
sure a lot of people are going out of town, though, for the three-day weekend.
Oh,
so,
the roadways are going to be busy.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely.
Highway 183, here we go.
Yeah, and you know they got a fishing tournament. I know fishing's your thing.
And cornhole, so.
Cornhole's thing. All righty, well, thank you, Mac. Thank you, Gino, and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. Don't forget, join Carolina Astrain and meteorologist Trey Mining for 25 News Now Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everyone.